Video, let's continue with pandas. So in the last video, we have discussed about pandas series. Now in this video, let's see about data frames. So series is a like pandas data type in which we will be working on single dimensional things. Whereas when it comes to data frames, we will be working with multi-dimensional. Okay. So in real world, whichever data set we observe, there will be multiple features and there will be one or few output columns as well. Okay. So uh, like so it will be multi-dimensional. That's what I mean to say. So now let's see data frames. So here if you observe, I'm creating some random integers which are of value between 5,000 to 10,000. And how many I'm creating? I'm creating those in a two-dimensional thing where there are 1,000 rows and three columns. Okay. So all these 3,000 values will be some random integers between 5,000 and 10,000. So let's execute this. So here if you observe, I am having all the values in the range of 5,000 to 10,000. Now let's convert that into data frame. So like you can directly give it as data. And if you wanted to mention like name for each of these columns. So basically, in real world datasets, these columns will be our features. Okay. So we'll be giving some column names over here. Here I'm giving column names as length, breadth, and price. So let's execute this. So after executing it, let's see what's there in this data frame. So here, if you observe, these are all the row numbers, and these you can think of it as index to access this particular row. And similarly, these are all the columns. Okay. So in this column, there is length, breadth, and price. So this same got converted into pandas data frame, and the data frame is looking something like this. Now, like here, if you observe, the index is from 0 to 999. That is by default index. If you wanted to give some other index, then you can mention like this as well. Here I am giving index from range 5 to 1005. So now let's execute this and see. So here if you observe, the index got changed from 5 to 1004. So actually in range, the last element will be excluded. Here if you observe, it is from 0 to 999, whereas here it is 5 to 104. So 8089 and here also 8089 and similarly 7612 and here also 7612. Means we are just storing the same data with different index. Okay. Like that we can even assign index like this, same as in series, and also we can give the column names as well. Okay. And if you wanted to see the shape of data frame, then you can use df.shape, and it is telling that there are 1,000 rows and there are three columns. And if you like see this df.columns, it will be containing all the column names. Okay. Here it is telling length, breadth, and price are the columns. And there is some other method that is df.head. So this df.head will be giving us top five uh, rows. Okay. So let's execute this. So here if we see, it is giving us the top five rows. That is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 index, and the columns will be all columns will be given. Okay. And if you wanted to obtain top 10 rows, then you can use some parameter like this. So in this parameter, whichever number you will be mentioning, those many top values we will be getting. Okay. So here if you observe, it is giving us the top 10 rows. And similarly, there is some other function that is tail. So tail will be giving us the bottom five values. So if you observe, it is giving from 1,000 to 104 index rows. And similarly, tail of some number will be giving us those many number of bottom values in the data set, okay, or in the data frame. So it is giving us from 995 index to 104 index. And there is some other method that is sample. So here tail is giving us a bottom rows, whereas head is giving us the top rows. So this sample will be giving us some random row. Okay. So when I executed it, it is giving us some random row from index 1001. Okay. Like that, if you wanted to obtain 10 random samples or 10 random data points, then you can use this df.sample10. So these are all 10 different rows that got obtained from this data frame. And like on df, you can index using column names. So if you see df.length, it is showing like this. And if you observe this, do you like what kind of data type it is by seeing this? Can you guys tell me? So, okay, tell within yourself. Okay, so this will be Panda series that we have observed. So individually, these all will be Panda series, and those will be combined in order to form Pandas data frame. So if you check a type of data frame, it is saying it as data frame, whereas df.length, if you see, it will be series. Okay, and we can also select few columns. So by default, we'll be having length, breadth, and price in df. And through that, if you wanted to select two specific columns, then you can give like this. So let's see here, only length and breadth columns we are getting, and this will be obviously data frame. Okay, so let's check the type, and it is showing it as data frame. And we can do some feature engineering as well. So here, if you observe, we are creating a new column using the existing columns that are length and breadth. In real world dataset, these length and breadth will be our features, and whereas this price is there, no, this price will be our output variable. So using length and breadth, we need to predict the price. So it can be, for that we need to like design some machine learning model. Okay, so that can be a machine learning problem. In such case, area can also be some important measure in order to predict the price. So you can obtain area with the help of this length and breadth. So like this, you can obtain area and you can keep it in the data frame. Okay. So these kind of techniques are called as feature engineering techniques. Feature engineering is nothing but obtaining some new feature with the help of existing features. You can simply think of it like that. Okay. Let's execute this and let's check the data frame. So here if you observe, length, breadth, price, and area is getting added at the end. Okay. Now, if you wanted to drop some specific column, then you have to mention axis equal to 1. Okay. So now in this, there is no area column because we have dropped. Okay. So whenever you're dropping a column, you need to mention axis equal to 1. And similarly, whenever you're dropping some row, here I'm mentioning the index and we have to keep axis equal to 0. Okay. Like this, it will work. And now if you observe, there is no fifth index. This drop function is not in place. So it will be returning us the result in which this particular column will be dropped, and similarly in which this particular row will be dropped. But it will not be affecting the data frame directly. If you want it to affect the data frame, then you have to assign it to df again. Okay. So, and similarly, we have discussed about this lock and ilock. So lock of 5 will be giving us this fifth row. Okay. Let's see. So here if we observe, it is giving us the fifth row, and similarly log of 10 will be giving us the 10th row. And like this, you can select multiple rows simultaneously. Okay. And if you can do slicing as well. Here I'm telling that give me all the rows. Okay. So it will be giving us all the rows. And similarly here I'm telling that uh, give the rows from index 5 and go till 10. And similarly, ilock is like here we should definitely in lock we should definitely use the specific index that is mentioned over here. Like sometimes these indexes can be jumbled also. Then you can't do slicing like this. Okay, if the indexes are continuous only, you can do slicing. So in such case, you can go for ilock. In ilock, always the index starts from 0. It's nothing but row numbers. Okay, so ilock of 0 will be giving us the first row, that is this one. And similarly, iloc of 1 will be giving us the second row. Then it will not be considering the index. It will just consider the row numbers. Okay. And similarly, using iloc also, we can select multiple rows like this and can slice it on this as well. So this we have already discussed in NumPy. Before comma, we'll be using these in order to select the rows. And after comma, we'll be using these in order to select columns. Okay. What is this saying? This is saying that give us rows from 0 to 9 and columns from 0 to 1. Okay, that means that length and breadth column you will be getting, and first 10 rows you will be getting. Okay, so let's execute this. So in this we are having first 10 rows and the columns are length and breadth. And similarly, what does this mean? It will be giving 10th row to 19th row it will be giving, and column like 1 to 2, that means 2 is excluded, so only first column it will be giving, that is breadth. Okay, so let's execute this. So breadth column, and it is giving from this is the 10th row, and this will be the 19th row. Okay, and similarly you can specifically mention like this as well, if you don't want it to slice it like this. So actually, this is iLog, so that's why we are mentioning like this. In case of log, we need to specifically give that index name. So here the index will be column name itself. So when it comes to the actual row index, it will be numbers. We are giving numbers when we are denoting data frame. So here we are giving some range. Instead of this, if you give characters, then we need to mention characters over here also. Okay. So like that, as the row numbers index is in integers and the column names are in strings, we need to mention specifically like this. So this will be giving like from index 10 to index 20 and the columns length and price. Okay. And let's check the data frame. And the data frame is still remaining the same. So on data frame this, we can make some logical operations. And what it will be doing is it will be comparing this with each and every value in the data frame. Like this, it will compare with this, all those values it will compare, and it will be giving whether it is true or false. So let's execute this. So it is giving false, false, false. And in some cases, it might give true. So the value is not present in these. So let's give some value which we are able to see. So 7612, let's give 7612. Then it should come true here. So let's see. So here if you observe, it is giving us true over here. Like that, this will work. And similarly, this will also work. Like all the logical operations will work. Okay. So it is giving for all the values where it is greater than 7,000, it is giving us true. And which are all values equal less than or equal to 7,000, those will be false. Okay. And similarly, less than 7,500 will be giving us true. And remaining cases, it will be giving us false. So here, if you observe, it is giving us like that. But instead of that, if you pass that particular, let's say if you're passing this particular as index to df, then what it will be doing? So if you observe over here, it is giving it in NaNs. So let's give something over here, like which is present, then you'll understand more. So let's give 7612 only. It is giving us the values only where this is true. And in remaining cases, it is giving us NaN. And similarly here also, wherever it is true, it will be giving that those values and remaining will be filled with NaN. Okay. And you can like select some specific column like this, and on that you can perform these kind of things. So what it will be doing, for whichever it is, this is true in the length column, those values you'll be getting. Okay. So here if you observe what I'm doing, I'm selecting length based on breadth, whether the breadth is greater than 9,500 or not. Okay. Like that, we can do some selections as well. Okay. And similarly, what this will be doing, this will be giving us true or false for specifically length column. Okay. Like that, it will be giving us whether it is true or false. And you can do this on this like that. And what it will be doing, it will be giving us those specific rows only. Okay. So in whichever row the length is greater than 9,000, it will only be giving us that. And similarly, for whichever row the length is greater than that one, it will be giving only length and breadth for those. Okay. Here it is giving all the columns. But if you wanted to specifically tell that you want only length and breadth, then you can give it like this as well. So here it is giving only length and breadth. And similarly, you can mix like several logical operations as well. So like this. And based on if the length is greater than 9,500 and breadth is greater than 9,500, it will be giving us few values. Okay. So only for these, both the length and breadth are greater than 9,500, and remaining all cases, both are less than 9,500. Okay. So within some specific column, you can find out maximum and similarly minimum. Okay. and you can find mean of some specific column, and similarly median, and you can find like all the unique values within this column length. And similarly, you can also find number of unique values are there in this specific column. And similarly, what are all the value counts? That means each value got repeated how many times. That will be known using this value counts. Okay. So 6085 value got repeated in length column for 3 times. And similarly, 5263 value got repeated in length column for 3 times. Like that, you can obtain value counts. Here, what we are trying to do, we are trying to obtain price and length, and we are giving a condition that give the rows where length is equal to length dot max. Okay. So when the length value is equal to what is length dot max, we already obtained that 9999. So when length is 9999, we will be getting those particular rows. And which columns we will be getting? We will be getting only the price and length column. So let's see. So there is only one row like that, and we are getting that row, but we are not getting all the rows because we are already specifically selecting price and length only. Okay. And there is some other method that is describe. So this describe will be like giving all the standard mathematical operations for each of the columns, like count, mean, standard deviation, min, what is the minimum value in that particular column, and this is 25th percentile, and this is 50th percentile, and this is 75th percentile, and this will be the max value. Okay, like that, this describe function will be giving us like all these mathematical values for each of the columns. Specifically, you can select some specific column, and on that also you can apply this describe. Okay. So, and there is some other method that is df.info. This will be telling us what is the data type and how many rows are present and what are those indexes range, and how many non-null values are present in each of the columns. All such information will be given to us, and what is the data type of each column. So like that, every information you'll be getting to know. And this df.dtypes, what it will be telling? It will be telling about each column, which data type it is like having. Okay. And similarly for breadth, it is having int, and similarly price, it is having int, and area is also having int. Like that, it will be telling us. So that's it for this video. And I hope you guys understood everything. And if you have any doubts, please comment down in the comment section. We'll be discussing those. Like if you mention any doubts, we'll be discussing in some new videos, or I'll try to make that or answer that in whatever possible way. And thank you.